After 30 years, Maverick is still pushing the envelope as a top naval aviator, but must confront ghosts of his past when he leads Top Gun's elite graduates on a mission that demands the ultimate sacrifice from those chosen to fly it. This is Top Gun Maverick.
And welcome back to another episode of the Nosebleed AV Club. My name is Matt. I am joined by my co-host and brother-in-arms, Austin.
You're looking very American. You're looking very
free.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I will admit that I thought this would look a little bit more flight jackety when I put it on, but you could probably tell it's just a fishing vest.
Hey, no one can tell. No one can tell in the sky, brother.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? And these sunglasses aren't because I'm emulating Top Gun. I just have pink eye. Because there's nothing more American. There's nothing more American than eating ass.
Let me dedicate this episode to some things: God, country, and Scientology.
Damn right. That's right. These colors don't run.
Lions, not sheep, baby. Let's go.
That's right. Stand up, Kaepernick. This is getting warm.
Before we start, we must crack open a cold one because it is the American way.
You know what I love about these podcasts? The only real correspondence that we'll do is we'll say, hey, recording today? Okay, what time? You didn't tell me anything about this bit that you were planning at all. So I had to just grab a bunch of shit to come up with something on the fly.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm drinking a beer tonight, which if you don't know Matt, that's like a rarity for him. He doesn't really drink a lot of brewskis.
No.
I actually drink a lot more beer than he does.
It's true.
And the one time he's like, "Hell, I'm cracking open a beer because it's just fitting for the tone of this podcast." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sipping on a coffee tonight." I did choose to spike it now,
but
since
you know
he
what?
was going to indulge.
You can do that because that's the American way. It's freedom, baby.
It's American. I'm free to do so,
exactly,
if you will. Nothing more American than that.
Cheers, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Cheers.
Also, these beers are really old. These are from Dre's graduation party. Taste like freedom.
Insane.
We are talking Top Gun Maverick, the sequel to Top Gun. What a movie. What a movie.
So let's just get this out of the way real quick. So you haven't seen this movie yet.
Prior to this podcast? No, I have not.
I saw this. Well, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to spoil anything just yet.
Okay.
But have you seen the original Top Gun?
I have not.
Okay.
However, after watching this one, I am tempted to go back and do so.
Let's touch back on that Let's touch back on that.
Sounds good.
Because I also did not watch Top Gun before watching this movie, and I too felt what you were feeling. God, you know what? I don't know where this is gonna go. So let me just get out of the way before we even talk about this movie. I'm just gonna say right now, and you can make your own decision if you want to. Top Gun, the first one, absolute fucking garbage. That movie fucking sucks. This might be an unpopular opinion. I'm sorry. That movie's ass. For real.
Damn.
That movie was garbage.
Damn.
I've never been more disappointed because I fucking love the fuck out of Top Gun Maverick. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. That when it came out, I saw it in theaters 4 times. I'm not joking. Feeling what you felt. I was so juiced off of this movie that I was like, I need to go watch the first Top Gun, and I hated it. I was like, this is a culturally iconic movie? Are we serious right now?
Well, yeah, no. I still feel like I have to do it after watching this one. I must say. Yeah, I feel like it's a must. Even if it's good or if it's bad, I need to do it.
Oh, yeah, no. I would never say don't watch it. I was not impressed.
All right, I got to take these off because I can't read my computer screen with these on. All right, returning from Top Gun is, of course, Tom Cruise, a man who really needs no introduction. Fucking icon, action hero, short king. Scientologist. What can't you say about Tom Cruise that hasn't already been said? You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
The guy's the man. He plays Pete Maverick Mitchell, the OG, the Unk, the GOAT.
You know why he's the GOAT too? It's like motorcycle helmet laws have been passed,
bro,
since the original Top Gun, where you now are required to wear a helmet, at least here in California, and he still gets away with it in the year 2022, year of our Lord.
Here in California. No,
that's how fucking much of an OG he is.
Honestly, I was thinking that the entire time. I was like, how are you not wearing a fucking helmet? And then you got your baddie with you and you're still not wearing, both of you guys aren't wearing a helmet? Like, and she's got a kid? Like, bro, you trying to orphan that girl? Damn.
Yeah. The laws work around him. Rules were made to be broken when Maverick's in town.
Actually, rules are rules, sir.
You think Maverick would be at the insurrection?
Wow.
You think he would have gone?
Tom Iceman Kaczynski is played by Val Kilmer. He is the one actor I closely relate Batman to as a child, because Batman Forever was one of the first Batman movies I've ever seen as a kid, and he will always hold that place in my childhood and heart. Looks really good in this movie, man. And there's a cool little thing they did with his character for this movie that we'll get into later.
You're gonna see me like visually react to that. That's like no offense. I wasn't sure if that was like sarcasm or not.
Which part?
Like, he looks really good in this movie.
No, he does, dude. He was fucking heavy as shit for a long time. He was very overweight.
I see. I didn't know that part, so yeah. I wasn't thinking about it in like the lost weight context. I was thinking about it in the he has cancer.
Yeah.
Context. So sorry.
Yeah. That's the thing we would get into later on with his character. But has cancer, but you know, for the most part, looks pretty good compared to how he's looked previously, just physically.
Got it.
Don't know.
Did not know that he was overweight.
Yeah. Penny Benjamin, played by the Jesus Christ, can she not get any hotter Jennifer Connelly? Like Jesus, 52 has never looked so good.
Take my breath away.
Damn. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. Bradley Rooster Bradshaw is played by Miles Teller, an actor for which I was not the biggest fan of for the longest time. Until some backstory.
Okay.
First movie I saw Miles Teller in was the Footloose remake.
Okay, never watched it, but okay, go off.
All right. Footloose remake is the first time I was introduced to Miles Teller.
Got it.
Following that, he starred in The Awkward Moment with Michael B. Jordan and Zac Efron. It was a rom-com for the dudes, for the bros. Wasn't very good, but during that time, he made some wild statements, I think, or just like he had like an ego about him. And I was like, bro, you ain't that good. You ain't the shit. You ain't him. Then Whiplash came out, started getting some praise. I'm like, nah, still not fucking with you, bro. Then this movie comes around. God damn, there was something about him in this movie. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the ripped bod. I don't know if it was the full stash.
It's got to be the stash.
I don't know if it was the fact that he was flying a jet.
For realsies.
But this might have, changed my tune on Miles Teller, and I might have to watch Whiplash now. I might even watch the Fantastic Four.
Is he fucking Flame guy?
No, he's Reed.
Oh, he's Reed. I thought Pedro was Reed.
That's in the new one. This is the fucking reboot that fucking got trashed.
The one that nobody fucking talks about.
No one fucking talks about.
Oh, with Michael B. Jordan's in that one too, right?
Yeah, he plays Johnny Storm Flash, whatever. I forgot his name is.
Whatever this fucking name is. Yeah. Okay.
That's rounding out the main cast. However, there's some supporting characters that I want to shout out. Fucking Cyclone, played by John motherfucking Hamm. God damn. Kills it as always. Love John Hamm. Ed Harris makes an appearance from Westworld and The Rock. Phoenix, played by Monica Barbaro. She was great. And Warlock, played by Chris Parnell, who is in Barry, who's also really good. And I have to shout out probably my favorite character in this movie.
Please, music to my ears.
Favorite fucking character in this movie. None other than the Hangman, played by Glenn Powell. Ooh!
My guy. My fucking guy. We are on the same fucking wavelength. We're on the same cycle right now. We are fucking one right now. Yes. The fucking best. Hangman, bro.
Hangman, bro.
He's
Without
so good.
question. Without question.
He
bro.
makes douchey asshole look so fucking good.
I love every fucking second of his time on screen.
Prick looks so fucking good, dude.
As I live and breathe. God.
I've never taken punchable face as a compliment until this movie.
Oh my God. So punchable, but so good looking.
But so fucking good.
So good.
Oh man.
Glenn Powell, bro.
Killed it,
Not
dude.
familiar with a lot of his work, not gonna lie. He is in a fucking new rom-com, I think, with Sydney Sweet. I think that's her name. Euphoria chick. Am I gonna watch it? Probably not. But he fucking killed it in this movie. And he's my favorite character.
Oh my God.
Also, best helmet design. Like,
dude, just the best. Just the best, dude. So right off the bat, this movie kicks off with a banger. The opening of Danger Zone is with like all the jets taking off and landing. So this is a callback to the original movie that does this as well. Filmed pretty on par with the original movie.
It was honestly like a little corny, and I fucking loved it.
But it's so good. Like there's going to be a common denominator with this movie, and for me, and maybe you feel the same way, is there's so many things in this movie that should not work and does not work in other movies, but this movie makes it fucking work. Like this movie has the right level of cheese, has the right level of melodrama, has the right levels of like corny humor and cheesy love story, like all these things that just are so tiring. We've seen it a million times done before. It doesn't even do it in the most interesting of ways, but the way it does it is just so charming, so full of charisma. It just nails it. It's the quintessential summer blockbuster.
It honestly feels like you took a movie from like the late 80s, early 90s, and you just modernized it. Like that's how it feels when I'm watching this movie.
Well, like one of the things that I will always credit Tom Cruise with is wanting to absolutely go crazy on stunts. You know, he's very big on doing his own stunts, and he's very particular, at least seemingly as far as I can see from like the Mission Impossible movies and in this, he very much cares about the stunt coordination and it looking good. And this movie, he was so adamant about that a lot of the main cast went through actual flight training in school in order to like learn how to be pilots so that they could actually withstand the G-force, because unlike the original Top Gun, they actually filmed at least a good portion of the cockpit scenes actually in the cockpit of a jet flying. And the actors were basically their own cameramen, and they basically were their own director. Like they got the direction obviously through headsets and like before flying up there, but once they're up there, they're basically directing themselves, you know?
And then the director would have to wait for them to land to review the footage and then go, okay, let's change this, and that. Then they'd go back up and reshoot it. Like that's fucking awesome. So that ties into the marketing for this movie, which I remember being really well done. When they announced the movie, Tom Cruise put out like that short video of them just like flying the planes, not even like scenes from the movie, but literally just the cast flying the planes and being like, look, we're actually doing the fucking stunts. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit, that's fucking badass. And then my cousin who lives in LA and he does press junkets for like various like media companies, he was on one for this movie and he got taken up in a plane. Like, I don't think it was like a jet.
Oh,
but like they took him up in a plane and they like fucking did like spins and shit. I was like, holy shit, like they went all out with this movie in every aspect.
Like, even for like the press people, just to know what these actors had to go through and put their bodies through. Yeah. Like that already, as a writer, as a critic or whatever, already makes me want to lean towards giving them a more favorable review, just because it's like you could appreciate the craft of this because it's so different, you know, than like your standard method actor. Sometimes you could really appreciate method acting. Other times, this guy's a fucking asshole. This guy's a fucking prick. You know, this is like you are experiencing something that only a select few people in the world will ever experience.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you still have to put on a performance.
You're right. That's automatically going to make me, give a more favorable review because they did the work. They did the work.
And you can appreciate it.
And it looks good. It looks convincing. Incredible.
The scenes, like you feel everything whenever it does any of the flying scenes, which thank God is a huge portion of this movie. Just to give you guys an idea of what this movie is in its simplest form, somebody said, let's take the trench run part of Star Wars and let's just make that in the entire movie.
As soon as they were going over the mission, I was like, this is Star Wars. This is how you remake A New Hope in the modern day. Fucking J.J. Abrams. This is how you do it. This is how you reboot Star Wars.
This was literally just 2 hours of the Star Wars A New Hope trench run. This movie starts out Highway to the Danger Zone segment. Like, we get Tom Cruise essentially testing out like some new like prototype jet or whatever.
By the way, that first shot of Tom Cruise just working on the plane, incredible. Bro looks amazing.
So good.
Bro's beautiful, bro. Like, hasn't aged, man.
So, it's funny, right? This is older Tom Cruise, right? Yeah. And for his age, he still looks pretty fucking good. He looks
amazing, dude.
Looks great, right? Not to keep spoiling the original Top Gun for you, but in the original Top Gun, that was like supposed to be like, this was like his coming out, right? Yeah. As like the new hot thing in Hollywood, right? Watching that movie, I just couldn't help but just be like, this was considered hot at the time. And it's not that he's necessarily ugly. It's that I cannot unsee his fucking unibrow.
You couldn't see it back in the day. It wasn't HD.
You couldn't see it back in the day probably because it wasn't HD, but in fucking Blu-ray, you could see that shit bright as day, and it's the most distracting shit ever. And there's some people that could pull off a unibrow. I just don't think he was one of those people. It's funny to me that in this movie, he looks a lot better. Yeah. The point of this whole scene is to establish, one, that he's still the same old Maverick, just pushing things to the limit.
Still has the same rank. Hasn't moved up.
That's another thing that it wants to establish, that he has not moved up at all since the first movie. He basically pushes the plane to its limits and he ends up crashing the plane. This scene is so great. Like where he just crashes in the middle of some buttfuck nowhere town and like walks into a diner.
This is one of the scenes that actually got the strongest reaction from me. And I'll tell you why. And it's not what you think. So he walks into the diner, right? He asks for the glass of water, and there's a kid there that's stunned, right? He's eating cereal. If you look at what he's eating Fruit Loops. Now, I don't know if you know this, but they've changed Fruit Loops recently. They are basically now colored Cheerios. So they're smaller, they're smoother, and they don't taste as good. This kid clearly has old Fruit Loops. They're bigger, they're kind of lumpy, not uniform circles, and I'm wondering where the fuck he got that, because goddamn, I would kill for some old school Fruit Loops because they are garbage now, and I'm pissed about that.
Some would argue they were always garbage, but that's just some people.
Could follow your nose straight to hell, buddy. But yeah, that's like honestly like one of the first things I noticed was like, holy shit, he's got old school Fruit Loops. What the fuck?
This basically sets up Maverick getting like, okay, like we're tired of you fucking up. Like you've caused us enough trouble as it is. Here's your options. You either lose your wings, right? We ground you for life, or you go take over and teach the Top Gun program like that you went through in the first movie in California or whatever, right? So obvious choice. He's going to fucking go teach Top Gun, This sets up, like, again, just one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Like, I have a lot of favorite scenes in this movie. Like, this movie's just full of them. So I should also mention that this love interest in the movie, she is literally one line of dialogue in the original movie.
Really?
That is it. Yeah, she doesn't make an appearance in the original movie at all. The original movie, I forgot who the actress is, but, she's like a blonde lady. They literally mentioned her. She's like one line of dialogue. Where Goose, he mentions him or somebody else mentions like a fling he had with the Admiral's daughter, and that's it. That is the only mention of this character in the first movie. So you actually get to meet her and see who this Admiral's daughter was. Even though this is the first time we've seen them together ever, like right off the bat, the chemistry between them is great. Like the way they just the little small interactions they have with each other.
Yeah.
It's cheesy, it's corny, but it's believable. It feels natural. It doesn't feel like two characters that are just acting in a movie. Like I could genuinely believe that they like have a relationship outside of the movie. You know, it's like Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone.
I didn't know that she wasn't in the first one. It didn't feel like this was the first time these characters interacted. Like I kind of felt like, oh yeah, there's 100% like history here.
And that's
there's
awesome
I was like, there's something
that.
I'm missing here. And the fact that there isn't really anything that I'm missing is incredible.
No, it's so awesome. Like these characters had no previous chemistry to build off of from the first movie, like Val and Tom do. This is the first time we've ever seen them interact, and they do such a great job.
Yeah.
You know, and then we get the scene at the bar where the characters that we're going to come to know and love start slowly piling in, and we start getting introduced to them. It's just great, dude.
It's so just campy. Like, I love it. The introductions are so campy. They're just like,
but I eat it up, dude.
Who let this guy in?
Like, back in town.
Guess they let anyone in. Like, it was just so funny. It
yeah, it's like that total, like, you son of a bitch. Like, it's like that total moment, dude. Who plays what's his name? The glasses guy?
Bob.
What's his name? Bob, right?
Yeah.
His introduction's really funny and good. Like, Hangman is just
the fucking man,
it up,
dude.
but he's so good,
fucking
dude.
man, bro.
So
Immediately,
good.
I was like, "This is my guy right here.
This is
my
dude.
guy. This is the dude right here."
I fucking love him, man. Not to be outdone, our boy Miles Teller makes his introduction. One hell of an introduction because goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Such a fucking great moment, dude. You do not need to watch the first Top Gun to appreciate this movie, clearly, because none of us did. But this is literally the only piece of little information that you need to know that they show in this scene where Tom Cruise's character sees Rooster, and honestly, casting, amazing job, because Miles Teller with the mustache, 1000% looks and passes for Goose's kid. But Tom Cruise just has a flashback from the first movie of when Goose died. Campy, cheesy as ever. But
even the way they edited it, it had like that fuzzy glowy filter to it, like just so like old school.
This movie does the good thing of that is all the time we spend about that.
What you need to know, it tells you, and it tells you quick so you understand, and then it moves on.
Yeah, this movie doesn't do the thing where it's constantly calling back to the original movie.
Yeah.
It calls back to the movie when it needs to, and it's like a quick 1-2, and we're on our way. We get a funny little interaction where Tom Cruise breaks one of the rules of the bar, military bar. You know, they're always going to have some of those weird fucking rules that like riles up the boys or whatever. He has to pay for everyone's tab. Can't afford to pay for everyone's tab. All right, guys, throw him out of here. Da, 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 da. Like, great scene.
Damn, that fucking intro to the school was just so badass. It's just so great. You know, everyone in there is the top of their class, or everyone in there is the best of the best. If you've been told you're the best and you think you're the best, and you probably have the track record, right? And you get called for a mission, you're like, yeah, you're calling me in because I'm gonna get this shit done. Like, I got this. Yeah. And then you have some OG, some unk come tell you you ain't shit. You're gonna be like, you're like, oh yeah, Gramps. Really, Gramps?
The realization was like, oh, that's the guy we threw out the bar yesterday. It's
yeah. And I skipped over that part. That was great.
Cruise eats this scene fucking up, dude.
Yeah.
Whips out the fucking manual, like, here's the manual for the jet that we fly. Like, you probably know this front to back, left to right, all over. Everyone's like, fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
Hold on, I have that clip.
Well,
I have that clip.
Damn right.
Oh, okay.
You got it.
Tom Cruise says, forget everything you know.
You know who else knows this shit? Your fucking enemies. And you know what your enemies have?
5th generation fighters.
They got 5th generation fighters, baby. You ain't shit against that.
This movie does the smart thing where there's an enemy, right, that they're working to fight against, and it's not a specific country. They don't make a distinction whether it's Russia, North Korea. They don't make it very clear, which is good, honestly. Like, it's not important.
I will say this, like, we're playing up the whole America bit, but like, honestly, this movie didn't have a lot of like American propaganda type things.
It's American in aesthetic and like feeling alone. The rock and roll, the like fucking gun ho, like, yeah, let's get them attitude. But like, none of it is like we're saving the world. they're the enemy, they're the bad people, we're the good people. None of it is that. It's not like patriotic in a weird way. It's just like the fun parts of being an American. It's like, to me, it's like the equivalent of like the Olympics, where everyone comes together to root for the USA, even if you're not like the most patriotic person in the world. Like, it's just that same kind of feeling.
But yeah, he basically starts talking about the mission and how it's fucking damn near impossible. And these people are like, nah, no way. No way. We can't fly that low. We can't go that fast. And Maverick's just like, you're going to have to do it, motherfuckers. Like, I'm going to get you there, bro.
So what did you think of the structure of the actual mission? Like what was required in it, the way they were building it up? Did you feel that it was as impossible?
Yeah,
like, what was
I did,
your take on it?
because of the fact that they dwell on certain aspects of it so long, like even just getting to the target, right? They drilled that so many times. They kept showing them failing, right? And not being able to do it. Some people were too crazy. Some people were too cautious. And just like how like precise they had to be during this mission. They really sold that to me. And it was really cool that they kept showing them training, because I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but once they actually did the mission, you were fucking amped. You kind of felt like they did, where it's just like,
yeah,
oh shit, okay, this is for real now. This is for real.
Yeah.
They did such a good job of selling the whole like just process and the urgency of it.
What I really appreciate about just them like setting the mission up, explaining it to them, is like, okay, so we're supposed to believe that these guys are the best fighters in the world, right? So like, it's got to be really fucking hard to come up with a way to create something that seems impossible even for them. And like the way they set it up, where it's like, okay, you have to fly low because they have anti-aircraft. But when you're flying low, you're flying in a valley that requires you to do near precision, perfect turns, right?
Yeah.
So then on top of that, there's this massive up climb, and they do such a good job of explaining like the G forces are going to pull on you so hard that it's going to make it hard to do. So even something as seemingly simple as just flying upwards, oh, I understand. Like, that's hard. They just explain everything in such, it's like a sports anime. If you've never fucking played the sport in your life, usually a lot of times the animes will do a pretty good job of explaining the rules to you in a way that isn't like exposition. It's like you're watching it through the lens of somebody that doesn't know what's happening, and then they're getting explained it, and you start to learn the game as you go along. I was learning the game as we're going along, and I'm starting to learn terms like the what's it called?
The
like
floor
the flight
deck?
Floor deck. It's just so good, dude.
And yeah, I do like that they show them like flying low and stuff, because you get the idea of like, that's not something they do every time they're on a mission, right? Like, this is something that's like unconventional as fuck, requires more finesse, more precision than just flying around in the air, where you can just pull crazy maneuvers and not have to worry about crashing into a fucking cliff, a fucking tree, a fucking bridge, like all that. It was just so fucking badass, dude.
Them like making a game out of it almost, where like, so like the first way he tries to tell them that they ain't shit is like he goes up against them in rounds of like three versus
one.
one.
Of my favorite scenes. That shit was sick, dude.
And the way he like fucks with them, dude, is just like showing like the way that they work together with each other, but also how they don't work together because they're so new, you know, to each other. And like, this is where you learn Hangman's reputation, where he leaves his teammates out to dry because he's just looking out for himself.
That's the only line I kind of had an issue with. I was like, wait, what do you like? This guy literally just be like, peace, you're on, like, I'm out, like, good luck.
Which, like, that would never fucking fly, dude.
Yeah, I'm like, why would you invite this guy to be on a team?
Yeah.
How is this guy still in the military? That's also where you find out what Bob stands for.
What was it? I don't remember.
Baby on board.
I missed that, actually.
You missed that?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen this movie so many times that
I missed when he's fucking around with Phoenix, he goes, hey, are we going to finally like reveal what Bob actually means, like what it stands for? He goes, oh, baby on board. And then like shit happens and he leaves. And then that's when she's like, oh, that's where he gets his name from, like Hangman, blah, blah, blah. He leaves you hanging. Baby on board.
Baby on board. That's fucking hysterical, dude.
No, but that scene was so much fun. And I don't know a lot about military operations and what happens and what they actually do to train. But I'm like, holy shit, this is what they fucking do. Like, is this something they fucking do just routinely? Like, what the fuck? Like, how are you just gonna like willy-nilly like just come up in between two jets and surprise them? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, how? I mean, it's just crazy.
Just going off some of the stories that Adrian is our little brother, by the way, who is a U.S. Marine. just going off some of the stories he said, where like how like sometimes when they're doing like their little practice drills or whatever, somehow some of the Marines choose to have fun in those scenarios. I'm like, yeah, this is believable.
But it's just crazy
like,
because they're in fucking jets, dude. Like, it's not like they're on the ground fucking around. Like, it's like, dude, you're in fucking literal death machines.
That costs millions of dollars of tax dollars.
Yeah. And it's just insane that like it's fucking badass as fuck. But I just like I couldn't my brain couldn't like wrap itself around it. Like, what the fuck? That's insane.
Yeah. It's also during this part of the movie where you learn of a little riff that Rooster and Maverick have. You start to sense that there's some past there.
Well, you get a little bit of it when he's being called in by the admirals and they're saying like, "Hey, you're going to put together a team," and then furthermore at the bar where he visibly like avoids him. So this just adds like, okay, yeah, there is some shit here. There's some shit,
and like you would think that okay, maybe it's just if you've seen the first movie, maybe it's just he blames Maverick for the death of his dad, which is not the case at all. Actually is the case is that Rooster has beef with Maverick because Maverick pulled his papers, which basically set him back like 4 years. Okay, like great job. Understandable to the point. Yeah, I could understand why you'd be fucking pissed. So this whole montage, this whole segment of just them training, him schooling them, and him just showing how unprepared they are was one of the better parts of the movie. It's just so good.
And then we get to this scene, which was another one of my favorite scenes. Dogfight football. Yeah.
Yes. Again, this is a scene that typically shouldn't work because we've seen something like it so many times and it's just so corny, cheesy. They have the fucking, what is that? Well, who sings that song? Is that like a...
It's One Republic, dude.
Well, yeah, One Republic fucking... But like it works so
it's a
fucking
bop, dude.
Well, dude. Yeah, like this whole scene is just so much fun. So
and you know why it's happening too. They spell it out for you when John Hamm's character comes in like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's basically a team building exercise. But it looks like fun. Everyone's jacked. I will say this, the one injustice in this part of the movie is that our boy Bob, baby on board, did not get his shirtless moment. Just because he's
would he be shirtless though? Would he do that?
Just because he's the dorky character, just because he wears glasses, doesn't mean he can't also be jacked. All right, like he could be jacked and take off his shirt, right? We don't need to play that nerdy stereotype where he's like probably not as ripped. Like, come on, guys, like give him his moment, man. You're already calling him baby on board.
Again, this is just one of those things where J.J. Abrams needs to fucking pay attention because this is how you remake an original movie, because this movie kind of in a way is a remake of the original one. It does a lot of things different, but there's also a lot of callbacks, this being one of them. So this is a callback to a volleyball scene. The volleyball scene in particular is where a lot of the homoerotic shit comes into play. Like there's a little bit of stuff between Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise where like throughout the entire movie. But the volleyball scene is one of the main scenes that a lot of people point to where it's like, this movie is just prime homoeroticism, you know?
Again, a little let down. In our Saltburn podcast, you said, I felt gayer coming out of Top Gun Maverick, right? After you watched Top Gun Maverick. And again, I am here saying, not that gay, not gay enough, straighter than you think. Like, I am so sick of being gay baited, bro. Like, if you're gonna tell me I'm gonna see some gay shit, let me see some gay shit, bro. I'm so sick of being gay baited.
If you watch the original Top Gun, you won't be disappointed. Let me tell you right now. You could cut the tension between him and Val Kilmer with a knife, bro. It's like, holy shit.
There was some in this movie too. Texted him, I need you.
Oh shit. Okay, we're getting ahead. So after the football scene, we also get a little bit more of Tom Cruise and
Penny.
Maverick and Penny. You get a little bit more of them. And again, it's just cheesy shit, dude. But it works. Like, it's just so well done. It's cute, you know?
I saw a comment on like a Reddit thread about this movie. And it was like, oh, sex scene in the first Top Gun. It was like a kiss. Sex scene in this movie. Adults having a conversation in bed.
Like, yeah. I mean, basically, like,
cool.
One of my biggest pet pet peeves, and maybe another reason why I love this relationship so much more than Top Gun, the original one.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize this at the time. You hear about the original Top Gun being such a culturally impactful movie that like you assume it was a big budget movie. It wasn't. That is very obvious in them only having about 4 songs in the entire movie. And one of the songs that they use any fucking time Tom Cruise's character sees the love interest in the original Top Gun, it plays cue. Take My Breath Away. Doo-doo. You hear that song, I'm not even joking, like 7 to 10 times.
That's a bit much. It
got to the point where I was just like, I never want to see these two together ever. This movie doesn't do that, thank God. You know, when they have sex in the first movie, it's like already like the 6th time that you hear that song by that point. So like at that point, there's like nothing about it where it's just like, this is just all the romanticism that I'm supposed to feel is just gone because I'm just so hyper focused on hearing this song for like the 6th time. I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to say about?
After all that, they push up the mission because the uranium plant or whatever is going to be done sooner than expected.
Because of course it is,
which never happens in real world construction, but whatever. It's always delayed.
She gets pushed back. Dude.
Yeah, it's always delayed by like 2 to 3 years, but whatever. I mean, these commies are efficient, I guess. John Hamm's character is like, I'm taking over. You're gonna get these guys killed because Tom Cruise keeps pushing the limits of their training. Like he's having them like I think
breaking the floor deck.
Yeah,
we skipped over a great scene where like he breaks the floor deck.
Yeah.
Because him and Rooster are having like a fucking dick measuring contest. He breaks the floor deck. John Hamm's like fucking destroying him like for destroying the floor deck. And it's like if you want to break the floor deck, you need to submit a written request.
Yeah.
And get it approved. And then Tom Cruise is like, okay, understood. Here you go, sir. And like, what's this? It's a formal request. Like he already knew.
Yeah.
He already knew that what John was gonna say and like what protocol he was gonna have to do, and he was prepared to do it. Like it's just a great scene that just shows how ahead of the curve Tom Cruise's character is, and that the reason why he hasn't moved up in ranks is not because he's incapable of, it's that he doesn't want to.
Yeah, I'm glad we took a step back because I want to get into that mountain part towards the end of like, the mission, right? And there's a scene where it is, what was his name? Payback. One of the pilots basically passes out as he's doing the drill and loses consciousness. And
I believe it's Payback.
Payback, yeah.
Yes.
And basically starts free falling in his jet. And you get like the most badass fucking Tom Cruise maneuvers here.
Give me tone.
Yeah,
so
like
he basically. So he notices that he passes out. I forget, they had like a specific name for it.
Yeah.
Jet locked or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
He's like jet locked or something. This is so smart. Like I would never think to fucking do this.
Either. Yeah.
I would have never thought, but it makes sense. So basically what they do is they they target them with their missiles,
so their
lock
alerts,
onto them.
Their systems go
so
off.
So their alert goes off, and it creates like this like high-pitched buzzing noise to try to wake him up.
Yeah.
So fucking good. It's one of those things where they don't ever explain that in the movie, that's what he's doing, but once you kind of see it happening, you quickly understand like what's happening.
And the great thing about this movie is it plays off your anticipation of someone dying, right?
Yeah.
Like someone having an accident during this because it's so impossible. What they have to do is insane. Like, and you're just kind of being like, okay, which guy who's gonna die? And it never happens. And it was like, wow, they fucking got me, dude. Because there's a few times where I'm like, okay, like
it does
someone has to be dying. Well,
it does happen, but we'll get to that later.
But yeah, basically from there, Maverick's been kicked off.
So
John Hamm's character's taken over.
Because
Phoenix.
So after he wakes up Payback, he's able to get him to regain consciousness. He pulls up, he saves himself. Everyone's like, okay, moment of relief, everyone's good. But then
the birds.
Phoenix's jet. Phoenix and Bob's jet, they hit birds.
Yeah.
And one of it, like I think it gets into their engine or something, and it starts to go down. And they basically have to do like a crash landing / eject. No one's hurt. Like, they are hospitalized, but I think, they make it very clear right away that they're okay. Yeah. On the other side of things, Tom Cruise's character is again getting destroyed by the Admiral, but this time he's like had enough. You know,
he's done. Like, he's out.
This mission's too risky. They're not making progress fast enough. We're gonna come up with a different plan.
And then that's where you get another fucking badass scene of Maverick doing the time run by himself and getting it done. That was sick.
Well, not yet. So this he goes to see Val Kilmer first. Because him talking to Val Kilmer, because when he does the test, that's when he gets back on. That's when they point him back on.
No, I know.
So he goes to talk to Val Kilmer first. Because he just doesn't know what to do.
Before we get into this, the whole time, Val Kilmer has basically been contacting Tom Cruise's character the entire movie through text messages. And I shit you not, the entire time I was like, why doesn't this motherfucker just call him? Like I was like, these fucking boomers would not be texting back and forth. At some point, someone would have called someone. And as I was thinking that, like clockwork, that scene happens where they see each other and then you realize like, oh, he can't talk. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, there we go. That's why.
Yeah. Tom Cruise goes to see his buddy from the first movie, Iceman, and he has a throat cancer or some sort of right?
Yeah,
I think it's throat cancer, right?
Yeah, it's throat cancer.
So can't which Val Kilmer is actually dealing with in real life.
And he does have a hard time speaking. He now speaks through a voice box, I believe.
Yeah. So this movie basically incorporated what's ailing him into the movie because it's literally impacting his ability to act. So we get a really great scene where Tom Cruise is basically just confiding in Val Kilmer's character and seeking some sort of guidance. I think we kind of glazed over it in the beginning, but Tom Cruise is only in the position that he's in where he's training Top Gun again because Val Kilmer recommended him for it.
Yeah.
You would think something like this wouldn't be as heartfelt as it ends up being, but I don't know if it's a combination of just Tom Cruise's believable character and his acting or Val Kilmer actually dealing with this in real life.
I think it's everything. It's all that plus the original story coming into play here as well. It's just a culmination of all that makes for a really powerful scene.
And it's just witty as fuck, dude. And it's where there's a part where Iceman still has to get a jab in on who's a better pilot, because that's the big thing in the first movie is that they're basically what Rooster and Hangman are in this movie is basically what they were in the original movie, but dialed to 11. They were even more intense about it.
Real quick, Val Kilmer actually does have some dialogue. He has a few lines of dialogue. And cool fact about that is they actually deep faked his voice for those scenes, which is pretty crazy.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's cool though.
That is really cool. That's interesting. So we actually got the timing a little bit wrong. I'm looking at the synopsis. So it looks like the crash happens after him and Iceman have their meeting.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, because at that point he gets kicked off, and then he just comes in out of nowhere and does the run and then gets back on.
The guy, John Hamm character comes in and basically is like, okay, here's how we're changing the mission. We're increasing the amount of time that you have to do it. And already they're like, that's not enough time.
That's not going to work.
That's not going to work. They're so bought in to what Tom Cruise was basically telling them that they refuse to make it any easier on themselves, which I fucking love it because one, it just shows the impact of what Tom Cruise was trying to teach them. And two, it proves why they are who they are. They're the best of the best. And that's because they, one, are incredibly skilled, but two, have the utmost confidence in themselves to be the best. And also they recognize that it's not realistic for this to be the time. Tom Cruise goes through, does it in the amount of time he's supposed to.
The great thing about this scene is that we all know Maverick's the GOAT, right? However, this time run is still not easy for him. He's still kind of struggling through it. He's feeling every bit of the pressure, every bit of the G-force, every bit of just the stress and tension. He's really putting effort into what he's doing. Yeah. It's not a walk in the park for him.
It makes sense. You don't want it to just be too easy for him. You need to build some sort of tension. And he's older now. Mm-hmm. And even if he wasn't older, I still think they would make the choice to make it not easy for him. This is hard. This is hard. This would be hard for anybody. Awesome moment. So that wins the captain over again. He's like, I don't know if I should fucking fucking be mad or impressed, basically, right?
And then this is where this movie shows its genius, or Tom Cruise's ego. I don't really know. Either way, it works. When you go into a sequel for a movie this old, right? This is almost a 40-year-old movie, and you're now doing a sequel and introducing a bunch of new characters, basically introducing a young new cast, where you think, okay, like they're kind of ushering in a reboot. No. Don't get it twisted. This is still very much Tom Cruise's movie. You know what I mean? Like, nah, this is still about me, baby. This is still a Maverick story, dog. And this is where it switches, man, because he becomes team leader.
This is great because him taking a spot takes a spot essentially away from somebody else, but that ends up being the best thing ever later on in the movie, which I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. Ends up being the leader of the mission, selects his team.
Dude,
so I will.
The entire the last half hour of this movie is incredible. The fucking montage scene before they fucking take off, setting all this shit up, and then you just hear John Hamm go, "Send them." So when they take off though, you just see that it's just like cloudy as fuck, and you just get it like, oh shit, like this is going down, and just the shot of them just like in formation, you're just like, oh yeah. And then when the fucking Tomahawk missiles get launched and just fly past them, I was like, dude, this is so sick. I'm rock hard right now,
dude.
Let's go.
Amazing, dude. It's just so good, dude. I forget, like, so I know that there's like 2 jets that are like flying in the area as they're doing this beginning area,
so
but
they didn't know about them.
They don't know about them.
Yeah.
They're just kind of flying off somewhere else,
like
right?
Patrol.
Essentially.
They were like doing like patrol.
Nobody knows that they're there. You still feel the tension because it's all the tension that we've been building up to with how fucking hard it is to run this run.
And then not only that, but then actually seeing the anti-air missiles like as they pass, and just like, oh shit, they're even shipping like, is this shit gonna go off? Like,
so at this point, Rooster and Tom, they haven't come full circle yet, but you see their relationship gradually mend itself, which is great.
Yeah.
And then another little subplot regarding Rooster is the whole thing with Rooster that Hangman is constantly like writing him for is that he's too conservative. He takes his time. He doesn't push it. He's just too careful. This is like his moment now where like he's finally starting to recognize, like he starts off the mission being conservative, too slow, and then Tom Cruise is just like, come on dude, like you really need to fucking pick up the pace, like you're not on time. Eventually he fucking hits it into full gear and even starts going faster than he should. Finally, like we get to the point where they accelerate up the mountain. There's 2 jets that basically have to shoot 2 missiles, one to destroy the vent, open it up, and then the other one to go into the vent, like basically dropping the payload and like explode the entire thing.
So we also kind of glazed over this part where they're once again recapping the plan, and then each time they do a step and they move on to the next one, they call that the miracle, right? So them hitting the vent is the first miracle.
You need 2 miracles.
Them is going up from the cliff is the second miracle. Third miracle is like this next part where is actually the insane part, the fucking butt clenching part of the movie. They pull up and they do it successfully, but now they're just dead in the air, and then the anti-air rockets just start coming at them. Holy shit, bro. That
so
was
good, dude.
How do you do that as a person, bro? Like in real life, like evade missiles like that. Also, can I say the fucking flare sound effects? Yeah. Amazing. So satisfying to hear.
So good. Yeah.
Like, that was sick. Prior to the miracles happening, the Tomahawk missiles hit their airstrip. That alerts those 2 patrol jets to then pursue the Top Gun folks. Now, they got
5th generation fighters
on their ass.
So not only do they have to avoid anti-air missiles constantly firing at them, but now they have
5th generation fighters
on their ass, dude.
And we know those, what were they, the F-18s? I forgot what planes were they.
I fucking don't
remember.
And we know
their jets don't stand a chance against
5th generation fighters.
We just get like just an awesome fight sequence.
By the way, I love that they just went full fucking TIE fighter pilot with the enemies.
Yeah.
Like they're not communicating with each other. You just see all black fits just like coming after them, firing.
No humanization,
none
at
whatsoever.
All.
Yeah,
they're just evil for the sake of being evil, and sometimes you just need that, right? Like,
if you really think about it, there is no real villain. No, like you don't really.
We barely spend any time with them.
Yeah,
at all.
It's just like, hey, this is bad. Let's get rid of it.
Yeah, this movie doesn't waste any time with any of the politics of it.
Yeah.
Like it's just like this bad, it must be destroyed.
Yeah.
Cool. And you
And
buy
you're
into
like,
it.
you're like, fuck yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Do it.
Hell yeah. So just a fucking great, awesome, nail biting, just fight sequence, dude.
The
And then
fucking maneuvers, dude, that they pull. Both enemies and fucking Maverick, dude. Just so sick. I was like, damn. In all my years as a child playing with jets or playing video games where you're a pilot, I've never thought to do some of the shit that I saw in this movie.
yeah, dude. Like it's just so cool. You know, like you said, growing up as kids, like I've never really been like a jets guy. Like never. I was into Star Wars, so it was like X-Wings and shit like that. That was cool. Like I've never played with like a toy jet, really. It's never been my thing. I never played like Ace Combat or any like those video games that were jets. Like jets just were not cooler to me than like some of the other alternatives, you know, that you had to like flying battle games, right? I wish this movie had existed when we were kids, because watching this movie as a kid, I would have been all in on jets, dude.
Because it's Star Wars with jets.
Yeah, basically. This scene goes on for a little, like maybe like 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know exactly how long it is, but like where they're just dodging missiles, communicating with each other,
trying to get back to the
fight,
ship,
right?
essentially.
Trying to get back, right? Yeah. Miles Rooster's character gets caught up in like he almost like is about to get hit, and then Tom Cruise makes the decision to like basically get in front of it and take the hit on his own ship. You basically see him crash, not knowing whether or not he survived or not. John Hamm's basically saying like, "Oh, this like fly back. This is like there's nothing you can do. This is perfect opportunity to fly back. Right? We're not losing anybody else on this."
Yeah.
We cut to Tom Cruise survive the crash, and then we get
another immediate ass clenching scene.
Fucking attack copter rolls up on him, and like he hides behind like this giant tree or whatever he finds, and is basically avoiding
imminent
the helicopter,
death.
like laying into it with machine gun fire. Just as you think his goose is cooked, a missile comes in and wrecks the fucking chopper. And who is it? None other than Miles Teller, baby.
Talk to me, daddy.
How does his plane go down? I forget.
He gets hit by, I don't know if he gets hit.
It was an anti-aircraft. It was probably anti-aircraft. Yeah. So then his jet gets taken out by anti-aircraft, and he has to eject. Tom Cruise makes his way to where he landed.
Shoehorns his run scene. This is where we get it, baby. Boom, just running full speed to Miles Teller.
I like the way this movie subverts expectations, where you think he's running over to like hug him or whatever. No, he runs over and fucking shoves him to the ground. Like, you fucking idiot.
I
Why did you do that?
though. I expected it, because I would be the same way. If I just sacrificed my life and you're a dumbass and now we're in the same situation, I'm like, you fucking moron.
Yeah. Which is basically what he says to him.
Yeah. I love the little detail when Maverick goes, "What were you thinking?" Right? And Rooster goes, "You told me not to think." Not the line, not the line. The line ain't get me, but it's the like motherfucker, like and then just the like the defeat in Tom Cruise's character. Fucking great, dude.
Now it's like an escape movie. This is usually where some movies might lose some of their traction, like some of their momentum. This movie does not lose any momentum whatsoever. Like, it is just as entertaining on the ground doing this stuff.
Like, this movie is like somewhat predictable. Like, I kind of saw this happening, but like it doesn't matter because it works. The way they do it is still entertaining and makes sense for the story.
And it was just a fun like scene, like where now they're both trapped without a jet. So what do? They go to the fucking airbase that they just had a hand in destroying and try to see if they could steal a jet that survived.
Luckily, there was one jet. Luckily.
This is where every person that's seen the original movie creams their fucking pants.
This is where this movie spits on the face of Wonder Woman 84 with its plane stealing scene.
Yeah.
This is a plane stealing scene done right, where they're making all the proper checks, and even Maverick himself, who has flown this plane time and time again, a little fuzzy on the details of how to pilot it. Unlike Wonder Woman, where this fucking dead, reincarnated fucking pilot from World War fucking 1 or 2 somehow knows how to pilot this futuristic jet that's not from his time, no problem.
Yeah.
That movie sucks. I fucking hate Wonder Woman 84.
That movie's terrible.
Garbage.
Fucking awful.
Garbage.
Yeah. There's a review for it. You're welcome.
Garbage.
One star.
Hey, bonus podcast, 0 stars. Don't watch it. Let's erase it from history.
So they work their way onto the airfield, doing their best to like just look inconspicuous. This is like a total like Austin Powers moment.
Yeah, it was
where
pretty
they're
funny.
just like trying their best to look inconspicuous, walking while there's chaos around them. And what do they happen upon? An old F-14 jet, which is the original jet that was used in the original Top Gun. I love that like Miles Teller just is like completely like, what the fuck is this ancient technology? Like this thing's a fucking dinosaur.
Yeah.
You know? So
It's
Tom
like,
Cruise
how are we going to
basically-
fly this museum piece or something like
Yeah.
that?
Which again, like what you said, just basically shits.
Yep.
Like that had to have been purposeful, right? Like that.
Oh, I would
directly.
if
directly references Wonder Woman.
I'm Tom
1984.
Cruise, if I'm Tom Cruise and I'm about this shit, right? Like I'm about fucking jets and like and flying them and shit, and I see that movie, I would be so pissed off. I'd be so insulted. I would 100% diss it in my own movie.
They're able to get it up and running, fly out to the airfield. Oh shit, the runway's destroyed because we fucking destroyed it. Maverick sees the little runway that he has, and he's just like, fuck it, I can do this shit. I'm Maverick, baby.
It's funny because this scene reminds me of when I go to Disneyland. So in Anaheim, they have this rule, I guess, that's exclusive to them, that because of like the neighborhood. So this is flying out of John Wayne Airport in Orange County. So because Disneyland's right there and like the fireworks or whatever, they try to take off as silently as possible. So what they do is they fucking just rev up the engines full blast and then just take off so that they can get to cruising altitude, maybe high, like sooner, and then just like coast. So it's like quiet. That's what this scene reminded me of, where you just have to like gun it basically.
Which is what he does.
Yeah.
And I love Rooster is just fucking shitting his pants right now. He's like, oh my God. Oh my. Like, you know, this guy that has flown jets for a really long time, he's one of the best at doing it. And like Maverick still finds a way to get him to fucking shit his pants, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's just so much fun, dude. They get noticed. Yeah.
They're trying to do hand signals that clearly this enemy force is not about.
Like the fucking signals. It's so good. They get found out, you know, and then they basically have to like escape from like, I don't know, was it like two
jets? But
two jets?
I believe Maverick takes out one of them like at the very beginning when they're like, okay, fuck it, it's a dogfight. A dogfight against
5th generation fighters.
Thrilling fight, awesome, like just sequence. Maverick ends up coming out on top, but they come across one more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
5th generation fighters.
Head to head, they're like, fuck, we're
Face
so
to
screwed.
face with a
Generation fighters.
Oh, zoinks, what are we gonna do?
oh geez,
No.
Rick.
The best part of the movie, baby. Lo and behold, who comes
Our
to their rescue?
Fucking man. Hangman, baby.
Fucking takes
Savior.
it out, and he's just as fucking smug as ever, dude.
Goat. He is the goat.
The fucking
He
goat,
is the
man.
goat, bro.
Ends with them landing. There's like one more little tense sequence where their landing gear doesn't work, so they have to basically catch the plane. But obviously, at this point in the movie, you know that they're going to be just fine. Rooster and Hangman's character have a real cool, like, moment. You son of a bitch, type of moment. And yeah, man, we get some touching shit with Tom Cruise back home, putting up the photo of him and Rooster next to the picture of him and Goose.
Because there was like
Like-
someone there just randomly taking pictures for some reason.
Yeah. Really,
Whatever,
really
whatever.
interesting. Yeah, you don't think about it too much. You know, he gets the girl. It's just great vibes. Just fucking great vibes. I fucking love this movie, man. Just full on jaw to the floor the whole entire ride. It was just such a thrilling ride. This is what I imagine people that like the Fast and Furious movies feel like. I would never feel that way towards those movies, but this is my Fast and the Furious.
Those are a bit
like-
ridiculous. Those are, there's just not, let's not talk about those right now. So, needless to say, this movie was an insane success. To call it a great success would be an understatement. Off the top of your head, what do you think this movie made gross worldwide? during.
What was his
during
budget
time.
at least? Can you tell me what the budget was?
It was 170 million.
I'm gonna say like 700 million.
So I'll preface this with this movie came out in 2022,
Yeah.
and when this movie came out, it was all I could hear about for the longest time, and I was curious. I was like, I wonder why that was.
Its theater run also lasted a little bit longer than like the normal theater run, I believe.
This movie made almost $1.5 billion. And when you think about when it came out, it makes a lot of sense. 2020 and 2021, theaters were still closed for the most part. And there wasn't a whole lot that was really coming out that was interesting. Not a whole lot there that's like worth mentioning in terms of like something that would be like a huge success. This movie came out at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Right. When restrictions kind of started getting lifted and when people wanted to go back to the theaters, it had all the makings of what a movie that would be successful. It had a great cast, a great star. It played on nostalgia, and it's just an incredible theater experience, I would imagine. I wasn't able to see it in theater.
So much so that I watched it 4 times in theaters.
Exactly. And you're not the only one I know who's watched this movie multiple times in theaters. Like a lot of people went to go see it over and over and over again.
I could not stress to you, I could not give a fuck about Top Gun before this movie.
Same.
Like it meant nothing to me. I didn't care. I actually had no interest in watching this movie. I got invited to go watch it with my family. So I was like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? Like go eat with my family, get to watch a movie. Sure. I went into this movie with zero expectations, zero knowledge of the first movie, nothing at all. And I walked out being the biggest fucking fan of this movie. I honestly could not tell you of a time where I walked out of a movie theater more juiced than after watching this movie. You know, and yeah, sure enough, I ended up going back like 3 other times.
This movie is basically, it was just tailor-made for the end of like restrictions and COVID. There's nothing more freeing, I would imagine, than fucking flying a fucking jet.
Yeah.
Like you think like riding a motorcycle is like freedom? Like no, flying a fucking jet must be freedom. There was freedom. There was fucking America. And there, you know what I mean? And there was just like socialization. Like they were just together in a group. It was like everything that people were missing during the pandemic in one movie. And it was like, this movie was like fucking lightning in a bottle at that time. It's just,
and I'm a fucking homebody. I didn't miss that shit at all, but it was fucking great. Like this movie is so, it's just such a good time and just so well made.
And the cast again was just really good. Tom Cruise, regardless of how you feel about him as a person, is an incredible actor. There was a lot of like nuances he did. Just like the look he'll give someone, the body language,
he's
the tone
really
of voice.
likable.
Yeah,
in this movie,
he fucking killed it. And you can tell that Tom Cruise and the rest of the cast had a lot of fun making this movie. Whenever a movie is a labor of love, you'll see it, dude. Like you can see it come off on screen.
He didn't direct this movie,
no,
but like, I mean, I'm sure he had a lot of hand though in crafting it. Kudos 100%. To him for just understanding what made the first one so iconic to people and just tuning it in a way that adapts it perfectly to a modern audience. I do have a little fun though.
I have a couple questions as well, but you can go first.
All right, so like mine's real simple.
Yep.
So what would be your call sign?
That was one of my questions.
All right.
So I had 2 in mind. One because I just like the word, and of course, chupacabra. Chupacabra,
nice,
would be a nice
one. Funny one, yeah.
But if we're playing off my name, I would have to go Matador, right?
Matador, yeah.
Because my name's Matt, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm at your door, you're gonna be seeing red, baby. Because I'm coming to kill you, bro. I'm coming to kill you. You're going down. I'm trying to be an ace, bro. You're going down. What was yours?
So literally one of the cooler call signs is Iceman, you know? That's a pretty fucking tight ass, you know,
simple, to the point, badass.
You know, ice in your veins, you know, Iceman. Classic, right?
It's a classic.
So I'm like, I really like that name. How can I adapt that to me, you know?
Yeah.
Yellow Snow.
Yellow Snow?
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of long, no?
It'll fit.
Yeah. Yellow Snow. Okay.
Yellow Snow.
Okay. Piss on your grave.
Piss in your grave.
Piss on your grave.
Piss on your grave. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, 1000%.
I like that.
You know,
Yellow Snow. I have a question.
Okay.
what would be your dogfight football attire?
I mean, I feel like there's only one.
What would it be?
90% of people are just wearing like swim trunks and shirtless, right? So I guess one step above that would just be butt ass naked.
Butt ass naked, okay. Yeah. I'm going to be a little more conservative. I don't know if you're familiar with Arrested Development, but I would go Tobias Bluth, never nude jean shorts, baby.
Okay.
That's what I'm going with.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
What unsanctioned factories do you have in your neck of the woods?
Steroids. Steroids.
I mean, that one was obvious. We all knew that one.
Steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that being said, let's rate this bad boy.
You want to go first or you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. This movie is a lot of fun. Sometimes that's all you need. It gets your adrenaline going, makes you want to go out and do cool shit. Sometimes you see an athlete working out and he's like, damn, yeah, I'm hyped. I want to go work out. You watch this movie, you kind of want to fly some fucking jets. You can't go fly some fucking jets because you're a fucking loser and lame and you haven't done anything meaningful with your life, but you still kind of want to, right? Like you still just want to do cool shit like that. And it makes you appreciate pilots who actually do this shit. That's just their life. That's insane. And yeah, it was nice to get a peek of that because you're right. Like this movie does kind of teach you things. Whether or not it's like accurate could be up for debate, but it's Tom Cruise and he loves this shit. So I'm assuming like his info is good. It just did everything right to me. It's basically Star Wars. So it'll get a 4 for me because as it stands. If I watch the previous Top Gun and maybe I find more appreciation for what happened in this movie, it might get bumped up, but as of right now, it's a 4.
Even before watching the original Top Gun, even after watching the original Top Gun, this movie's score hasn't changed for me. After watching it 4 times, this movie's score hasn't changed for me. Like even more than that, actually. I saw it in theaters 4 times, so I own it on Blu-ray. Like I've definitely watched it more than that. So like probably 6 or 7 times now at this point. Sitting with it, ruminating on it, I really cannot think of any flaws this movie has that I would change. Like I love this movie, and like I'm not saying it's the perfect movie. That's I'm not that by all means. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like there's just nothing that I could really outwardly point to that I'd be like that needs to change or that shouldn't be in the movie. Even though things aren't perfect, I can accept or understand why certain things are in the movie. Just because of that and just how much fun I had watching this movie and how much I adore this movie and love it. This movie has always and will continue to be a 5 out of 5 for me.
It's an ace. So that brings its average score to a 4.5. Definitely one of our higher ranked movies for sure.
I'm so fucking glad that because I wasn't sure. I felt pretty confident, but I'm so fucking glad you love this movie because yeah, dude, this movie's fucking phenomenal.
Look, man, it's having me reconsider my feelings on Miles Teller. Like, I don't know if he's humbled out since then. I mean, with this movie, his ego could be like even bigger than it was, and it would be kind of justified.
To be fair, I've heard the similar things that you've said.
Yeah,
I've never really seen anything to back it up, but I've heard the same things that you said you've seen yourself. So take that for what you will.
Doesn't matter. This movie's still great, and you should definitely watch it if you haven't, so that you can at least know what we were glazing and creaming over this whole time. So yeah, that was our episode on Top Gun Maverick. You can find us online at nosebleedav.club. That's where we host all of our rankings. You can find us in social media on TikTok and Instagram. Both handles are at nosebleedavclub. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, consider giving us a rating. 5 stars is preferred for sure. ASUS, baby. Give us that 5-star rating. Leave a review if you'd like. And if you're watching the video podcast on YouTube, consider hitting that subscribe button. Consider liking the video and leaving a comment letting us know what you thought. We are trying to get into Top Gun.
Into the danger zone.
We are trying to get casted in Top Gun 3 so we can become pilots and fly high. So in order to do that, we need the clout for Tom Cruise to notice us. So go do all those things and we'll see you in the sky, baby.
Highway to the